Good evening. It is yet another night where we are going to discuss the news, at least a couple stories that have happened within maybe the past week. We're going to do that right after this. Well, that was awkward. Got to make a little change in my settings there. Hello and welcome to the Video Call-In Show. That show that invites you to be a live video guest on this program to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. Topic of the day, current events, personal promotions. It's all up to you. Joining is real easy. All you've got to do is point your browser to zoom.us, click on join a meeting, and enter in that meeting number right there. When it asks for it, you will show up in my green room and I will bring you up. First come, first serve, as time allows. I will be here for the next hour or so. By the way, my name is Jim. I am your host of the Video Call-In Show. Again, I will be here for about the next hour. My job is to listen and learn to and about you. Having said that, if this is a type of show that you really enjoy or would like to come on and talk, with your old buddy, this guy right here, then by all means, make sure you follow, make sure you click like, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We broadcast every Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is every Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a full list of upcoming shows, please visit the YouTube channel, which is Video Call-In Show. And you will see all of these scheduled events, even though that we are actually broadcasting on several different platforms. You'll never be able to, or you'll always be able to find those subjects that are coming up. How is everybody this evening? I hope you find you well. Let's say hello to some people. We've got Adam from Facebook. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. Jesse Mendez. How are you, brother? Good to see you as well. Drone Kings in Darwin, the final countdown. I decided at the suggestion of Brad, Drone Kings in Darwin, to come on a little earlier with the show, a little countdown, 2 to 5 minutes. That way it gives people a little bit of time. Let's all do the countdown. Gives everyone a little bit of time to be notified, come on in, and that way you don't miss the open of the show. And I hope it helps. You guys let me know in the chats if you think that's a good idea. But anyway, let's say hello to Susan Hamilton. How are you? Good to see you as always. Ed from Flashing Your Pan. Welcome to the show, my friend. Wendell Live, waiting patiently. The wait is over, Wendell. We are here now. Thanks for being here, bud. Oh, man. American Gold Prospectors, how are you? Good to see each and every one of you folks. Thanks for showing up. I'm hoping that I got some feedback on my first 2 news programs, and I figured that this would be a weekly segment. Again, if you want to come up, we don't have to talk about the news stories and that I bring up, but I do want to touch on them so that we at least have something as a basis to talk about if it interests you. And I know that these stories that we're going to talk about tonight are of extreme importance. Some to humankind as a whole, others to us, in the digital realm. Speaking of digital realm, this show is being brought to you by Champer Interactive. Champer Interactive. Lead generation and digital marketing consultants since 1994. Now, the mission of Champer Interactive is to help people with their digital marketing initiatives. It is my company, full disclosure, and what I have been doing for clients for many, many years is helping them construct, strategize, implement, and report down to the dollar how effective their digital marketing is. That's Champer Interactive. There's an email address right there if you know of someone who's looking for that sort of guidance. And even some brass tacks work to be done, let me know. Okay, let's move on to the stories before I pull up my first guest here. Now, this one, I want to preface with something that's very, very important. There is, I don't have any prejudice against different races, different sexual orientations, any of that. I want everyone to know that I'm a live and let live type of guy. Whatever floats your boat, as long as it doesn't rock mine, is fine. That's the age old rights equivalency. Your rights end where mine begin, and vice versa. So whatever you decide to do is up to you, as long as you're not causing others harm. Speaking of harm, we all know that there's a battle going on, and this is not the first battle, but it I would say is probably one of the most visible, at least in recent memory. There's a 7-year-old boy, born a boy, who has reportedly been told by his mother that he is a girl, and he's actually said he's a girl. So now, actually, a psychotherapist. This is part of the story, but I learned in researching this story that that the boy, as kids do, experiment, right? I mean, who hasn't seen the picture of a little boy or a little girl in their parents' high heel shoes or something like that? That's what kids do. Their frontal cortex isn't even close to being fully formed. So they do things like that. I mean, it's our way as human beings of finding ourselves in the world. Now, how that pans out is fine, but it's always been my contention that you don't push one way or the other, because, nature will take its course. Now, the way I see this story is that mother is not allowing nature to take its course. And I know it's socially, well, actually, I shouldn't say I know. I'm not there. I'm not part of the family. I'm not part of the proceedings. But I surmise that it is a cultural or societal based pressure is why she's doing this. But apparently, at one point, the little boy said he was a girl. She wanted to find out whether or not something was wrong. She took him to a psychotherapist. The psychotherapist said that the little boy was suffering from gender dysphoria disorder. And if the reports are correct, I really want to slap this psychotherapist, because they really encouraged this mother to encourage this behavior. I wouldn't say suppress it, but I wouldn't say encourage it either, right? It's like, let nature take its course. Well, that didn't happen. The father of the boy, and then this couple is their marriage was actually annulled over this disagreement. They had twin boys, and this is just one of the boys. And you should know that less than 50%, I believe it is, much less than 50% of twins are both gay, right? So that means the majority of the twins, there's one gay, one not. Just saying, or at least that's what the studies show. And I can cite those later if you need to. But so anyway, it's Jeffrey Younger is the father, and I want to say it's Gorgelis or Georgelis. I haven't heard her name spoken. Have been in disagreement on this for a good long time. In fact, Mr. Younger has a video that he's actually published of this child telling his father that his mother tells him that he's a girl. And there's and again, this is one side of the story, but has also done or allegedly done things such as when punishments happen, she locks him into the room and says, monsters eat little boys, that sort of thing, which if the reports are right, there's something fundamentally wrong here, or just it's really okay. I want to take a break here because Brandon 1998 actually commented on one of my videos. How you doing, Brandon? Good to see you. I'll say hello to the rest of the folks here in a minute, but he said, can I join your live stream tonight, or is it a live stream about a different topic? Brandon, and anyone else that's watching this show, know that there is no particular subject you have to bring when you come on my show. I'm open to talk about whatever you want to. The only reason I bring up topics is to, some people are interested in, and it spurs conversation. Yeah, tonight on Thursday night, I tend to talk a little bit more about the topics because there's so much to cover. But no, Brandon, and everyone else that might have that same question, that you can come up and talk about whatever you want to. I'll ask you if you have an opinion on the topic. If you don't, that's fine. You want to talk about something else? That's a-okay. I am good to go with that. All right. Having said that, let's take a chat break here. Because there's a lot of people that jumped in, and I want to say hello to. Let's see, who did I miss here? I believe I said hello to American Gold Prospectors, but if I didn't, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Running Man Studios, hello to you, my friend. We've also got Raven the Commentator 2001. Always a pleasure to have you in the show, hon. Two Real Geeks, welcome back. What's up? Well, this is what's up. Stick around. I'm almost done talking. I may abridge it so that maybe my guests, if they want to talk about it, we can dive into it deeper. Hello, Gianna. How you doing? Good to see you. Luke, Duke Outdoors. How you doing, Luke? Always a pleasure to have you, bud. And if I miss anyone else? Listen, and if you guys have any questions, and I'm speaking to the YouTube audience specifically, make sure you tag me in it so I can see that big red box. Otherwise, I may be either blabbing and not able to watch, or I've got a guest up, and I try to give my guests as much attention as I possibly can. They certainly deserve that, if nothing else. View this. How you doing, Tony? Good to see you. Manuel Goffey, welcome to the show. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Like I said, I hope this finds you well. Stephanie from Facebook, how are you? Welcome back, hon. Good to see you. Good to see you. So Stephanie and I are related. So wonderful gal. I've known her her entire life. And I can't say that about a whole lot of people. Well, I can actually, but yeah, that happens when you get my age. Oh, that's one of the great things you can say when you get older. It gets tougher when people start dropping off the planet, but that is what it is. Okay, back to the story. So, so this the father, Jeffrey Younger, has a tape of the child actually saying that, or videotaping the boy telling his father that his mom calls him a girl, and this is what started this battle. I'll bring it to the end really fast, and in that, but beyond comprehension. Well, given what we know, I mean, we may not know all the details, but a jury had this question. It was a custody question, because the father is actually requesting, custody of the child, claiming abuse of a certain kind, and he lost that decision 11-1. Now the judge still has to rule on that, as I understand it, because that just happened today, Tuesday. Yeah. So, the jury actually awarded Georgelis, the mother, sole custody of a child that they're calling Luna. Now, you can say what you want to about how there may be circumstances that we're not aware of, but I got to tell you, a biological boy, who at that time was 3 years old, now 7, who is now being referred to as Luna, I think indicates everything we need to know about what a problem this is, and how, it's inconceivable. I literally can't wrap my head around thinking that there's anything right about how this is going down. But I want your opinion. That is my opinion. I want your opinion on this. I'll walk over the second story. I've got 2 people in the waiting. Let me run over the second story real fast, because my other story I wanted to cover was the Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, and I believe still president CEO. has well, he went up Capitol Hill and he testified because the lawmakers were concerned about the Libra network, which is actually they announced plans in June. Facebook did for Libra to transform the way money moves around the world. It's supposed to be run by a nonprofit association, but it's supported by a range of companies and organizations. There's 21 members in this consortium, for lack of a better term. The crypto project is what it is, and they met in Switzerland to sign on to the association charter, the Libra Association Charter, which will govern the cryptocurrency. Well, as you would expect, lawmakers are concerned about this because of what it may do to monetary values around the world. So they brought Zuckerberg up to testify. Well, it didn't end in the Libra. What I found astounding about that, and this, I'm just going to give my opinion very fast here, is that nearly every one of the of one side of the political spectrum was more concerned about the diversity in Facebook than the actual issue at hand. And one that was very disconcerting to me was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In her questioning, you can tell she's not a lawyer. She loaded her questions like you wouldn't believe. If you have a chance, I'll try to link a video in the description later, but do a search on Zuckerberg Ocasio-Cortez and watch that exchange. Her behavior was completely embarrassing. Now I get it. She's a freshman. She's a former bartender. She's not a legislator. She's not an attorney. But what I found actually frightening about that, yeah, go ahead and put a link to the Discord, Brad, if you don't mind. Yes, Video Call-In Show has a Discord server. I'm always up for a chat off show because I usually leave Discord open as often as I can. It has become the chat of choice, so I decided to create a Discord server. And yeah, you guys are more than welcome to join that Discord server and chat with one another and chat with me, and that would be great. I'd love that. And again, if you guys have show ideas, there is an email address in every description that you can use to send me your show ideas, because I'm always open for ideas. It's great to hear what you guys want to talk about, and it gives me ideas as well. Okay, back to this last story before I bring up my first guest, and I've got actually 3 in the waiting list now. This happens on Newsnight. I got to get this stuff out. So anyway, the Ocasio-Cortez exchange was chilling, just absolutely chilling, because she was asking him if Facebook would allow. Now, I am no fan of Facebook any more than I am YouTube, because I think their practices are both inequitable and unethical. Right? We all know that. Oh, you can't find it. No, I don't have it on my About page, do I? I'm sorry for that, Gianna. I'll have to make that up. But there it is, right there. Drone Kings and Growing has actually linked it above, and I will actually put that in the link. Well, you know, I'm on a mission right now to keep links out of my description to see what that does to my searchability. But I will try to put it in different places. How's that? Yeah, my About page will be good, I suppose. So anyway, her questioning, her line of questioning was chilling, in that she kept asking him whether or not Facebook would allow politicians to lie in their ads. The implication was, or the insinuation, well, yeah, she was insinuating. Well, no, she was implying. No, she was asserting. I don't know. My point is that the undertone of her questioning was that they should be policing lies. They should be fact checking speech. And the reason that is chilling for me is because I can't imagine who is in a position of authority worthy enough to determine whether something's a lie or not. Now, there are easily ways to determine whether a fact is true or not. But a lie is something you can't detect. I personally think, and I want your opinion on this. I'm laying this out here. This is Jim 2.0, News 2.0. That you should absolutely be able to lie anytime you want to. I mean, it's not right. I mean, you're stupid for doing so. We all know the kind of web you weave when you do that sort of thing. But as a free people, as free, responsible adults, you should be able to do it. There should be no authoritative body that can tell you whether or not you can lie. And I use lie in air quotes because lies are subjective. And like I said, I want your opinion on that, because I don't know why people don't understand that when you put your trust, your gatekeeper trust in someone else, you've given up your right to make your own decisions, right? So when someone else deems a let's just stay with the speech subject here. When someone else deems a segment of speech unworthy of your attention, they have eliminated your ability to make that determination for yourself, because you will never be exposed to it. So never ever give up your right to view lies, to post lies, and it may not be lies, because that's one of the things is most people that print lies don't understand that, well, untruths or inaccuracies usually don't understand that they are untrue or inaccurate. A lie is a willful, inaccurate statement. So always fight for someone's right to say whatever they want, as long as it doesn't harm someone else. I mean, that is the basis of free speech. All right. One more hello to the chat, and then I will bring up my first guest. How are you doing, Manic Magic? Good to see you, Trevor. Andrew Frying Pan, welcome back to the show. Good to see you as well. Let's see. Oh, I should mention that Mark Zuckerberg had a decent speech where, I don't know if he actually believes this, but he outlined that very thing in a very succinct or very well put. And that just went layman real fast. And I never expected him to come out with that. Whether or not he actually believes it, or if it just smoke up our asses, I don't know. But I thought it was remarkable that he framed free speech in such a way that it was actually meant to be framed. Free speech is America, Ray Russell. You're absolutely right. And there is no such thing as bad speech or speech that shouldn't be spoken, unless it causes harm to others. Because remember the rights argument. Okay, I'm sorry. I have gone on with that long enough. Let me check the chat really fast. My user interface looks way better on Facebook. Oh, take that. Maybe they heard me, Adam. I don't know, man. They bumped me up to level 2. Who knows? Hello, Paul Michael DB. How are you, man? Good to see you. All right, let's do this because I know you guys don't want to hear me rattle on for the next hour. Oh, it happens though. It happens. I can't help myself, so we'll wait until he can hear us.
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, how you doing, Jess? Huh?
Oh, I was just waiting for you to say hi.
I know. I should have waited that. No video tonight, bud?
No, not tonight.
That's okay.
You?
That's okay. No, you don't even need the AU. I've got my silhouette on you right now, bud.
That's fine. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, you look great, man.
Yeah.
Great bubble.
So, speaking of the Ocasio-Cortez and Zuckerberg, he actually gave a really good response. He told her that no, politicians should be allowed to lie. That way, the people can see and figure out, you know, who they want to, you know, who they're dealing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although myself, I would have taken it one step further, and I said I would have told her, well, I tell you what, you may be right. Let me start fact checking you. Let me start with you, and then we'll move from there. My volume is low.
It is a
Okay.
little low. I'm trying to pump it a little bit.
See what I can do. Can I do anything about that here?
Are you just get close to your mic?
I'm eating it now. It's in my mouth. How's that?
That's fine. I'll bump you a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't be right. You couldn't be more right, Jesse. I mean, that's the thing that they forget. I mean, I know people are afraid of lies or mistruths or misinformation, but or they forget is that that's the only way you'll know about that person's tendency to do it.
Correct.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and if you put them in shade, you'll never know. And then those are the type of people that'll get voted in office, and you think we got problems now.
Right. Well, look. Look. She got voted into office, brand new, never a politician, a so-called bartender. That's been questioned, so I don't know.
I've actually seen pictures of her behind the bar. I don't know if they were staged or whatnot, but
I know guys behind women behind bars that were not bartenders. They were just behind the bar.
Aren't women behind bars convicts?
No.
Yes, I know. I know those as well. But yeah, I've seen her pouring drinks. But yeah, I can't say that that's for sure. I don't care enough about her to fact check something like that, honestly.
Right. So, like I said, I think I could have shut her down and just said, "Sure, no problem. Let's do that, and we'll start with you first."
Exactly.
That would have just she would have shut up right then and there. I mean, it was, and you're right. The way she worded her question, it was like impossible to get any real answer from Zuckerberg. But I thought he did all right. No, let him lie. You guys can all lie. Go ahead. The people are smart enough; they'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I too was impressed. And I'm not impressed by Zuckerberg often at all. I was impressed with his speech not too long ago. Where was that? Harvard, maybe, and how he approached this. I hope he's not blowing smoke up our ass because he's the practice. The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding has been sour thus far.
I think he's heading towards politics, so he's learning how to lie.
Could be. But now we know, right? Now we have this on record, and if he goes back and say, "Hey, you jerk," Good point.
So the reason I called in was because not all news is about politics. Not all news is about gloom and doom.
Nope.
We have light news sometimes. I have a little bit of light news for you.
Oh, please do tell.
Okay, this comes from UPI. Tennessee farmer converts giant pumpkin into kayak. There's a video that goes with it.
Oh, man. Are there pics?
Oh, there's a video that goes with it.
Oh, man.
A Tennessee farmer who grew a 910-pound pumpkin celebrated his achievement by turning the giant gourd into a kayak. Kristen Obi posted a video to Facebook showing her husband, Justin Obi, taking the hollowed-out pumpkin for a float on their Cleveland property. Where else? Nowhere else but Ohio, right?
Exactly. Well, of course, now I'm going to call this up real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
There you have it.
There you go. There you go. He said he has tried for 4 years to grow giant pumpkins. Ombi told the TV station this year his biggest, a 910-pound. We do this on our own.
Still there?
farm in Cleveland. We occasionally grow lots of pumpkins, but this year we put all our work into one. He said the pumpkin was grown from a seed that came from the largest pumpkin on record in Tennessee, weighing in at more than 1,700 pounds.
Good Lord. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine trying to get that to water's edge? Oh,
well, no, he hollowed it out first.
oh, well, yeah. Do tell. Here it is.
There you go.
Oh man, cool, Jesse. I'm glad you thought of that, and I am ashamed of myself because I am one of those people who can't stand the doom and gloom of the news 24/7.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be your regular weird news guy.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That would be great. Yeah, because we need a little bit of lightness. We need a little bit of levity, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's politics is, especially in today's world, is just like 24/7. Oh, wait, you know why that is? Because it is 1984.
Yes.
We are living in 1984. Think about it. In 1984, anywhere you went, you saw the
Big Brother
state news.
Yeah.
Today it's called CNN. You go to airport, everywhere you go, that's what you see. Bars, everywhere. You got the same channel.
Yeah.
Spewing out the same news. Or
yeah.
That's where the term disinformation comes from.
Yeah, we're about that far away from the dear leader. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's we're just the years are a little off, but the idea is happening. The Minister of War or the Minister of Peace is all about war, and the everything is topsy turvy.
Oh yeah.
Bizarro, or in my world, it's bizarro.
It is. Think about that first story, man. That is total bizarro world.
Yep, absolutely.
My brain hurts every time I try to wrap my head around how people can think that way. Honestly,
it's it's bizarro.
Yeah,
definitely bizarro. And then with Zuckerberg with his cryptocurrency, dude, I don't know. I mean, think about this. Let's say we all convert to cryptocurrency, which is part of that 1984 scenario also, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Chips and money and lots of other movies, so that imagine a war where they knock out all electronics, all that's gone. Every bit of it's gone. There's nothing to fall back on.
Right. Which is why there's so many people out there that advocate investing in precious metals, and I don't mean electronically. You should own those precious metals. I know you, right. Jesse, you get that for sure. But yeah, I mean, because if the shit did hit the fan, and it could very well hit the fan, it's hit it a few times in our history already. You've got to be prepared in some way. And I'm not saying just run out and be a prepper, but you've got to be prepared. Take care of you and yours.
Right. Be aware. Mm-hmm. Okay. Here again, we're going right into that 1980 or 1984. Ohio relic hunter goes, as long as we don't switch to Southern Green. Listen, there's a few nutcases with a little bit of power behind them saying we should learn to consume human bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's people out there, talking that, and what's really weird is people are listening. I know.
Pro tip, folks. George Orwell's 1984 was a warning, not an instruction manual.
Correct. It was a warning.
Yep. Tony wants me to read his post out because he ran out of characters to tag me. He said that he saw a story today that said due to people having sensory issues, Harvard, he thinks it was,
yes,
and a few other colleges, it will now move to using jazz hands over clapping. No bullshit. Look it up, folks. I don't even have to look it up. I almost guarantee you that that's a thing.
Oh yeah, it is a thing.
Jesus.
It definitely is. I saw that article today myself, and a YouTuber that's out there, Tim Pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Very familiar.
He did a story on it, and yeah, and he made a lot of sense when he says, well, if that's the case, the waving of the hands is triggering me.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Because it's too much movement.
Oh, that's so going to happen. Yeah, you're not thinking about the epileptic portion of our community, the epileptic community.
Oh, what? Those flash balls, stop. I can't take it anymore.
Jesse, what are we doing? What we're going to reap what we sow. What are we doing to ourselves here? That's what I want to know.
Oh, well, again, and I've heard you blame your generation. I blame my generation also. We raised a generation of all you just have to show up to get an award. You don't have to put any effort into it. Just be there.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's what
the result right here. What we're watching happen is exactly the result.
Right. Fortunately, like I said before, what we see is the 1/3 or 1/4 of what's really out there. We hear and see the squeaky wheel, the ones that are doing all this, because the pendulum has a way of swinging back. Mother Nature has a way of leveling things out. We can only do so much damage to ourselves before we can't do it no more,
before the hammer drops. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's like the addict or the alcoholic has to hit rock bottom before they realize that, that they're an alcoholic. Yeah. Yeah, they got to change.
Exactly. Well, that's awesome, Jess. Thanks so much for your input on these, man. I think you and I see real close on most of these issues. And
oh man, we're in our own bubble.
I know, right?
All right, man. I'll let you get to. I know you got a lineup behind you.
Yeah, appreciate it. And anytime you want to come on one of these nights with a lighter edge, a story that I am more than receptive to that, dude.
Well, if you, yeah, okay, but you'll have to let me jump in line then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You have to go. Oh, I got to put this guy on now.
Well, it'll just be the third story. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Especially if you put me in front of Nag, that would be great.
There you go. All right, buddy. Have a good evening, man.
All right, you too. Let's see. Where'd that button at? Oh yeah, leave.
There it is. Well, I'm glad he did bring that piece of levity. That pumpkin boat is something else. Might just have to be wallpaper from here on out. I want to say hello to a few people before we bring up the next guest. Crap on that makes me watch. How are you doing, Adam? Good to see you, my friend. Patty Broussard, how you doing? I didn't see you walk in. You know what I mean. Catherine Cook, how are you? Thank you for having folks hit the like button. Again, guys, if you like this show, and I really don't want you to hit the like button until you realize that you like this show. I don't want it to be symbolic. I honestly want you guys to hit it like when you like it. And if you like this show format and you're watching on another format, go make sure you follow me. And of course on YouTube, a subscription is always appreciated. And no question that a share is awesome as well, because as many people we can get in on these conversations, the better, I think. So, all right, now on this one, I'm going to have to do a little typing. Looks to be a new visitor to the program, and we'll wait for them to either find their mic or let me know that they can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello. Austin? We'll wait a moment while they grab your mic. As soon as you can hear me, Austin, because you're probably listening to the YouTube feed, by all means, just let me know. Say hello. Dirty D's, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the show. For those of you who are new here and you're wondering why all these people have wrenches, they've actually been on the show, and when we have a great conversation, I know they've got my back, so I give them moderator wrenches because look at that, I know that dude. I think I give away your first name though. Is that okay?
No, I don't care.
But see, now I've got to update my list here.
I always go to put my I usually put, but I was driving, so I was just like, I'm not gonna put it. So I'm on my way up to drill. I just actually got to the hotel, so that actually worked out perfectly.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, Henny, how the heck are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. The job's going well, so yeah.
Sweet. Is that the same job you were talking about getting when last we talked?
Yep.
Awesome, dude.
I got moved up a little bit. I'm loading trailers now. That's pretty interesting. So yeah.
Cool. Well, it's been a day or two since you've been on the show, and I was thinking about you when I made my list, and you probably haven't seen the show a lot in between, but what I did was, instead of having to type the name in every time, I put everyone's name in an Excel spreadsheet, and I can bring it in automatically. So then I just got to look for it, choose it, and boom, no more typing for Jim.
Nice.
Yeah. Now I've got to update yours. So what brings you on the show tonight, bud?
I just want to talk a little bit about each one of those topics.
Sure.
So the one about Luna, that's actually funny because this kid I went to high school with, after we graduated senior year, he went through the whole change and everything, and he went from a boy to a girl, changed his name to Luna, and all of that. And I feel like, because this happened to my cousin also, when they're so young, you don't want to, in my opinion, you don't want to encourage it, but you kind of don't want to suppress it, I guess, is how I see it. Because my cousin, when he was like 4 or 5, he wanted for Halloween to go as Gabrielle from High School Musical.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle was just like, okay, like, I don't want you to, but like, he didn't tell him that. He told me about it, but he was just like, I don't want him to, but I'm just gonna let it happen because eventually he'll grow out of this, you know. You just gotta let it happen, but you can't like be like, oh, this is, not say okay, but like, you're a child, you're like figuring it out.
Right.
And now he's 16, 17, and he completely grew out of that all like, I want to dress as a girl and all that. He's actually wants to go to school for being a drama major, and he's really good at like doing like musicals and stuff. So I mean, all props to him. But like, I don't know. I feel like the way the mother is approaching it, it's almost as, I forgot the name of the mother. You probably know about this. Is when the mother like told her daughter she had like all these diseases and she was like confined to a wheelchair.
Yes.
And the daughter, but they made a movie about it. It's I feel like that's kind of how it's kind of playing out, is what it like looks like in my eyes.
Yeah, almost like the parent is trying to live vicariously in a weird way through their child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or
then,
projecting their fears or aspirations, which is kind of vicariously, but onto their child, more for themselves than Munchausen. That's exactly Munchausen by proxy. Exactly the term, Dirty D's. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, but so you're absolutely right, and I would say what you were looking for was you agree with me. You think nature should take its course. Don't encourage, don't suppress, allow nature to take its course. I honestly think today, because it's so much more accepted than it was back in my early years, that that would be more it'd be so much more easy because the closet doesn't exist if you don't want it to exist, and you're going to be so much happier in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see eye to eye on this. Go ahead.
No, yeah, and then about the whole Zuckerberg thing, you're talking about free speech and how she was talking about we should watch, like, I guess politicians shouldn't lie, or they should fact check everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The way I look at that also is she, in a way, even if she doesn't know, is she got into office by lying, because debating in a political stance is, you stretch the truth in a way where it's basically almost not a lie, but you're kind of beating around the bush.
Yes. Yeah, you're
Because we talked about this in my English class for
Mhm.
business writing, and we were talking about the whole Republican debates, and not the Democratic debates, and how you can if you're looking for it, you can see that about 75% of the time they're not answering the question. They're wording the question to fit their political agenda, and then attacking another candidate with the same question.
and
And it's
oh, go
pretty
ahead.
much lying.
Yeah, exactly. And and like I said, who is anyone to police that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm literally talking about policing, because it's one thing to make your own determinations, like, well, that was a bunch of bullshit he just spewed, which is
Yeah.
what we should all be free to do. But if we're asking someone to look at that, make an objective opinion on it, and then a decision based on that opinion, then we give away so much. So much. I say let them do
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, let statements live or die on their validity, and be done with it. I mean, that's all that is there is to it for me. Is that too black and white?
No, I mean you're hitting it on the nose. I just don't see how she can say that they should police it when she got into office doing the same thing. So she's basically calling herself out and being a hypocrite in a way.
My theory there would be that, one, she lacks self-awareness to a great degree. She doesn't see what you just said, because that should be the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but she has no idea, or the concept of, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. Because what that means is, whatever you do ask for, that it's going to affect you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so myopic in their views that they can't see beyond. They don't have any ability to draw the logical conclusion, right? See it to its logical conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's short-sightedness.
No, yeah, and I think it's funny though too, is because, like, just imagine watching like any type of political debate for like Senate, the like presidency and all that. Like, it would be so dry because the candidate would just answer the question and they would go on to the next person, but it would be the same. They would just answer the same way because they're all in the same party, and they all have pretty much the same political agenda with little tweaks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like, like when you brought up the story, I was just like it would just be so boring. Like, there has to be little lies in between to make yourself stand out.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Can I take that?
You got to give the people what they want. That's the whole point.
Yes, exactly. Can I go one step further with that?
No, you're good.
Imagine a world where people are policing truths or lies, or policing speech to that degree. Mm-hmm. How horrible an existence would it be, whether you're on the stage with others and trying to have a debate or whatnot, or you're just talking to other folks, and that your speech is going to be policed. Think of how uncomfortable it will be to have to throttle your thoughts and your expression to that degree, not knowing, whatever comes out of your mouth, what the consensus will be about that did fly out of your mouth. I mean, it boggles the mind to think that that anything you say may be stripped, may just be completely pulled, whether you believe it's true or it is true or whatnot. That if the power is in someone else's hands to do it, then the individual is going to look at that and just I don't know. It's going to stop free expression, at least in the public square.
Yeah, I mean, and I also see it as like if everyone, if like you tell a story to a friend, or you're trying to be like, oh, it's kind of like this, you may be off a fact here, a fact there. Are they going to consider that lying, or are you just missing a few pieces to your story?
Right. And who's to say?
Oh my God.
Who is of that caliber that they can actually make that determination? That's where I get stuck, because they're saying that people should have that the ability to do that, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, anything like that. But who has the right to actually do that? If you want to get down to
Yeah.
brass tacks, I just it flips me out, and I hope beyond hope that Jesse's right in that that all these things they're being talked about are squeaky wheels, and the majority of the people don't look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's up to all of us to continue to fight for free expression, and I mean free expression outside of damaging others. I mean, it's got to be out to that level in always and forever. Otherwise, we become slaves to our own sense of, you know, safety, and that's that's a horrible place to be, dude. Horrible place to be.
And I see it as this also as like, you kind of, I'm gonna say you have to fact check yourself, but you kind of, when you engage with another human being in a conversation, you kind of have to take it and do your own. If someone tells you like, oh, this happened, you gotta be like, oh, did it really? And after the conversation, maybe look up something, because I don't do that all the time, but I do that occasionally. If someone tells me some wild stuff,
Mhm.
like my one buddy was trying to tell me that Tom Brady was gonna go to the Bears next year, and I was like, dude, like, if Tom Brady goes to the Bears, pigs are flying. Like, and there are articles about analysts saying, oh, he may go to the Bears because it's the best option for him. They have a really good defense, and he might want to challenge. But it's not like definitive, like he's going to the Bears. And that's
Yeah.
why I had to tell him, like, he's not. It's not saying he is. It's a good choice, maybe. But I was just like, oh boy, dude, pigs are flying if Tom Brady goes to the Chicago Bears.
Oh
But
man, yeah. Well, and I would say that that we end up, which is where it should. You know, the responsibility should be with the individual. We police what we say all the time, and that's fine, because you know that should be our reserved right. Think about, you know, just literally making a decision whether or not to lie. Now, mistruth, he might have heard that and thought it was true, but if he actually told you that that his mother was Angelina Jolie and you didn't know his mother, now that would be a blatant lie if it wasn't true, right? I mean, that's an easily, it's easily a verifiable lie. A lot of us don't do that because of the social stigma, and I think that's where it needs to stay, not with a third party doing that for us, because it will never be administered properly. Well, Hanny, I'm going to get to my last guest, man, and I am so glad to hear it, because you're a young man, and you're one of those people, like I have so many, and that's why I believe Jesse's statement to be true, that there are a lot more people that are level headed than not, and we're just hearing about the the crazies. But it's so good to have you on and talk to you about things like this, dude.
Oh yeah, it was good. It was good talking to you. I try to get on as much as possible, but you know, working third shift, it's a little hard with your 9 o'clock start.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, you're in Central Time, aren't you? Or yeah, Central
Yeah.
Time. Well, honestly, I'm thinking about doing an experiment where I come on at would be 8 your time or 9 Eastern Standard Time for maybe a week, and see if people enjoy that a little bit better. But keep posted, man, or keep tuned. Stay tuned.
Okay. And I just want to say before I go,
Sure.
I want to say, keep it rolling. I'm seeing that sub count almost get to 1,000, man. You're killing it. Keep working, man.
I'm going to keep going. I enjoy this too much. You know, I really do. I really do. But yeah, you got that, man.
All right. Well, you have a good night.
Same to you, Henny. So we'll see you, bud.
Yep. See
ya. It's true. I draw a lot of inspiration from audience members, especially the young ones who have such a good head on their shoulders. Henny is no different, and you guys know, those of you who've been watching this show for a while, you know that how I feel about that. Yeah, and even Creeps5 on Twitch says, yeah, I don't know how that 7-year-old mother's forcing him to transition is not psychological abuse. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. By the way, thanks for being here, Creeps5. Appreciate it, and feel free to follow or share this video. I'm only going to be on tonight for approximately the next. I'm going to have another guest up. I think one dropped off, but I've got another one in the wings here. I will. I'm on every Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's a pleasure to have everyone here, and even nicer when we get to expose to other audiences. Awesome Epic Adventures. I saw you walk in. How are you? Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Dirty D's. I think I said hello, but hey, hello, Dirty D's. If I have forgotten, and of course, Pixelpia. How are you? Pixelpia teaching and learning. And then where's Danny Black in the house again? Good to see you, my friend. I was lurking today on your live stream. I was actually working pretty hard, so I didn't get to say anything, but great show, dude. Great show. Okay, let me do this. And if I've missed you, anyone in the chats, let me know, because that does happen. Let's see. Do we have any other Above and Beyond Drones? Oh, how you doing, Jim? Says another child lost in the system. Yeah, due to the system, and whose life will be a struggle due in part to the court ruling favoring mothers. Yeah, and that's a whole nother subject. We all know that the court system favors the mother's side in a majority of the cases. Maybe I'll approach or broach that subject sometime down the road. Wow, Relic Hunter, how you doing? I think they need to get away from the crap pile long enough to come back and smell the stink. You're right. You're right. Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Jesse says, police everyone but herself. And it's funny how those who it's almost ironic. Those who have trouble policing themselves are usually the ones asking for others to police them. And that is a losing strategy. That is an absolute losing strategy. If you don't know how to police yourself, I'm sorry that you didn't have good parenting. But there are ways to fix that. You just got to become self-aware, become knowledgeable in this arena, and you will be just fine. Ronnie G, Positive Vibes, how are you? Good to see you. All right, I'm going to bring up my last guest here. Let's see here. You all know and love her. And Donnie, I'm sorry you had to drop, or not Donnie. Yes, it was Donnie. Sorry you had to drop off, bud. Or Brandon, I'm sorry, Brandon, 1998. Brandon, like I said, you're always welcome on the show. I was going to get to you after Rachel, but oh, I did it again. Damn it. Hang on, Raven. I have to, let's see. I literally have to reset my head here. There we go. There we go.
That is completely fine. And to everyone else, I would like to say, good evening, ladies and gents.
How are you, Raven? Good to see you.
I'm doing good so far. You mentioned something about the mother who's been forcing a gender transition on this 7-year-old boy. I've seen headlines about it on Facebook, on the internet, and everything. And to this story, there is an analogy that I unfortunately have to use.
Sure.
So there are a lot of rich families. They have children, and a lot of them, they just tend to they treat them like they're prizes, and they treat them as like they're an extension of their reputation. I mean, if you've seen Gravity Falls, and you've seen what Pacifica has gone through as the Northwest heiress, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And, you know, depending on the situation that the child is in, like, say they're having the bell rung on them, or they're just trying to correct them by sex in a way. And that's basically the bottom line, is that a lot of families, they just want to enforce their reputation. They just want their reputation to be expanded, or they just want them to be at a point where they think that they're trying to make them acceptable for a society.
Yes.
And that's how this is exactly it is for that mother of that 7-year-old boy. I mean, that boy, he's 7 years old. He shouldn't be able to know about like gender transitions until he's much older. Just let him experiment with who he wants to be. It doesn't matter, like.
Oh, we lost you. I will say, Raven, if you can hear me, that you're absolutely right. I didn't even think of that as an argument. Where they're using, it could very well, and this would be an alleged because we don't have any facts on this. Could be using this situation, the mother could be as social credit, right, or social capital.
Social points.
Social points. Right. I hadn't thought of that angle. That's very insightful. And I would guess that you are probably absolutely right. The psychoanalyst gave her, carte blanche to go down this road. I can imagine that she had friends once they heard about it that egged her on because of, the condition we're in, or the societal situation we're in today. And that may very well be part of this story. That's a great angle, Raven. Thank you.
Yeah. So, like, in another way that we can look at this, imagine seeing a guy. Imagine like a girl seeing a guy like in their lives, and that guy is under the assumption that the girl that is seeing this person every day is his girlfriend. And so the guys try their hardest to, try to impress the girl in some way, or just make them elope in some way. And it's totally just to get like, nice guy points or whatever. I'm not going to actually say like what they're trying to do in order to get from these women, because, well, it's not really exactly appropriate for YouTube or anything.
Kind of a family show.
Yeah. The result of like the guy trying to do all these acts, and the outcome is that they mean well, but they're just not doing it the right way. It's either that, or they are not really taking care of themselves, and they're just taking care of this girl that they've been seeing for a while.
Yeah. You could almost classify it as as in the realm of selfishness, right? You have something you want, and you end up doing extraordinary things to attain that which you want. But I think those two scenarios are synonymous in that you could very well be right that they're working into the same sort of premise. And I think Jesse's point was pretty on point as well when we were talking about our generations being the instant gratification generation is kind of one of those and everyone gets a trophy generation that has kind of allowed that to germinate and to grow. So it's up to folks like us, Raven, to stop that cycle.
Yeah. To quote Mr. Incredible, it's psychotic. They keep creating new ways to celebrate mediocrity. And that's exactly what this generation is doing is that they're celebrating mediocrity and not really celebrating actual achievements.
Yes, and celebrating mediocrity is no way a good path to exceptionalism.
No, if someone is genuinely exceptional, then nobody really pays attention to it. But if one person does something like mediocre, but then they get all the social points that they could get.
Yeah, and they're praised for it. And
exceptional people, they don't get any of these social points whatsoever because they believe that exceptional people, they're just put in the back burner for no reason.
I know. Well, like I said, it's up to folks like you and I, Raven, to change that, because only human beings can change human beings, and I'd like to think that I like to think that they putting some of this stuff out there is at least a tiny step forward, but it is a step forward in doing just that.
Yeah,
I hope
it's
you
like,
agree.
yeah, it's like society's like, I agree. It's like society is like trying to take like 2 steps forward, but in reality, they're taking 2 steps back.
Yeah, and they're not aware of it.
No.
That's the worst part about it. They're not aware
Yeah.
of the backward fall that they're taking.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and I've said this before, and I'll say, and like people have said this before, but I'll say it louder for the people in the back. 1984 was a warning, not an instruction manual. It's like people are like policing other people for like doing the stupidest of things. Like, you know, that father that tried to stop that gender transition, his mother, she's been trying to police that.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy. It's almost like it's feeling like you're in a Twilight Zone episode or in a Scooby-Doo episode where like the masked criminal goes unmasked and they go, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those middle-aged kids and their dog.
We all know what that's a reference to.
Yeah.
Well played, Raven. Well played. Well, thanks so much, hon. I appreciate your input.
Thank you so much.
Again, I am heartened by some of the response that I get, especially from you young folks, because it tells me that not all is lost. All right, hon. I got to go. I'm going to close out the show, but again, thanks, and come back and talk to us. You bet.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Raven, what a lovely gal, and smart beyond her years. And I would say that even about some of the folks that I've had on the show over this last year. It's just been fantastic. Because it's real easy to get bogged down in those news stories and believe that all is lost. And I don't think that's the case. I honestly don't think that's the case. But I also think that it takes each and every one of us. We have a responsibility to be diligent in bringing rationality to what is otherwise a rather crazy world or situation. Okay, well, thank you all for being here tonight. Listen, don't miss, of course, Sunday. We are going to do yet another open panel show, and I want to make sure that all you folks are there. You're all welcome up, and we'll as long as we can talk civilly to one another, it'll be a fun time. And of course, next week, Halloween's coming up. Now the Monday show is you play well with others, but the other 3 shows are Halloween specific. I'm going to make it nearly a week-long celebration because I'm kind of a Halloween nut. And honestly, to me, this is actually going to be a story one of these days. To me, I don't care what costume you decide to don. Every costume you decide to don, to me, is more of a is more of a tribute than it is some sort of being labeled a some sort of misappropriation or something like that. So there are no bad costumes, folks. Well, I mean, there can be bad costumes. Let's keep it clean. But no, you don't have to wear a costume. But I'm here I'm laying it down right now. Stop the battle on these stupid ass costume arguments. If somebody wants to go as something different, which is what this is all about, something different than they are, let it go. These are tributes. They are not slams. So my middle son's birthday is Halloween. Wow, that's cool, Ray. That is cool. Says his middle son's birthday is Halloween. That is awesome. All right, guys. So make sure you join us Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that open panel show. And then, of course, the rest of the week at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be there, and I hope you are too. But I will leave you with this. Make sure you treat others the way you want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be such a better place. Thanks for being here, folks. Good night. We'll see you live.